Hi everyone. I am here in this gorgeous setting today to talk to you, and I want to show you what my view is like. I've got this pretty lake out here and all the trees are just getting their leaves. So I wanted to answer a question today about what it's like to be psychic. I get asked this all the time. People make comments about how awesome it must be to be psychic, and it is. But I wanted to give you some more information because I think a lot of it is misunderstood. And understand that this is for me. I think that a lot of psychics have different experiences, have different ways of living, and how their intuition affects them. So I'm going to tell you about how it affects my life. So my intuition's with me all the time. It's changed my life drastically, I think, from someone who doesn't have intuitive abilities, because I am so aware of what's going on around me, how people are feeling, their emotions, their struggles. When I look at a person, anyone, I can't help but see their spirit. I can't help but see their true essence. And that makes me someone who's extremely forgiving and extremely compassionate to what we go through as human beings. It's very hard for me to hold a grudge. It's very hard for me to be truly angry, because when I see you, I see who you really are, aside from personality, from challenges, from ego, etc. So I think one of the most important ways that intuition has affected my life is my compassion and my love for people. Aside from that, I think people always wonder, do I walk around getting information all day? And yes and no. A lot of my intuition is intentional, and I'll explain that in a little bit. Sometimes when I'm with someone, I will get messages. These could be things that I pass along or I don't pass along. It depends on the situation. Sometimes the messages are for me, to help me to navigate the situation, to help someone, to protect myself from difficulty or conflict. I use my intuition all the time. But I think people are always wondering, is she getting information about me? If I'm getting information about someone that's meant to be shared, I will always share it. This happens a lot with my friends, people that are close to me. Sometimes I'll be talking with someone and I'll just have something come in and I'll find a way to share it. If they are open to intuition and understand my abilities, I'll tell them, I just got this. If they're not, then I might find a more indirect way to share that message from spirit. I always believe that if spirit tells me something, it's meant to be known. So in most cases, when I get something about someone, I will find a way to deliver that message, whether it be obvious or not. That's not the norm. I don't walk around getting information about people all the time. For the most part, my intuition is intentional, which means I have to actually go after the information. So when I read for someone, I go into a meditative state, raise my vibration, and connect with spirit. And then the information starts coming through. It's kind of like tuning into a radio channel. Once I'm tuned in, I can hear the words clearly, or the messages, or the symbols, or whatever it is that spirit is bringing me. In order to do that, I have to quiet my mind, and I have to vacate my mind of all of the other things that I'm talking or thinking about. So doing that is a very intentional act. I never ever read for someone without their permission, unless it's something that I get without my control, something that is just popping in without me asking for it. If I'm going to ask for information, I absolutely have to have that person's permission. It's just an ethical thing. When you're communicating with spirit, spirit's going to know if you're doing it for the wrong reasons. And it's so important to me to be doing it for the right reasons. In addition to that, it's so important for me to be clear, to be a clear channel, and to not filter that message through my own thoughts and beliefs or clutter that's going on in my own life. So to read for someone usually means the act of getting quiet, gently putting aside my own thoughts, feelings, stresses, stuff that I have to do in my own life, and connecting with that channel that will allow me to start receiving information. So I think this is probably true for a lot of psychics. We don't walk around trying to glean information about people, trying to find out information about people without their permission. It just feels yuck. I actually can't even imagine doing it. I've never done it. I never want to do it. When you have that connection with the divine, your, at least for me, my how do I describe this? My standard, my expectations of how I use this gift are extremely high. I spent years, literally years, studying my gifts before I would ever use them for someone else. I had been using them a lot in my own life, been having a lot of my own experiences, but it was so incredibly important to me to learn how to be an expert, to learn how to be of utmost clarity, and of purest vibration and light before I started channeling that information for someone else. Because quite frankly, there are people that will make decisions based on the information that I bring them. And I want that to be as crystal clear as possible. So being a psychic doesn't mean that I always know everything. You know, there's a lot of stuff I don't know. I don't know a lot about my own life. You know, it's a lot easier for me to read for other people than to read for myself. I'm on my own journey. So, you know, sometimes I can get answers from spirit about which direction to go, but a lot of times I'm relying on my own gut, my own intuition, to choose, make the right choices, and to choose the right path. So I struggle with my path probably as much as everyone else. The difference is I connect and I listen and I look for the alignment of my spirit with the actions that are going on in my life. And I can feel very quickly if I'm out of alignment. But that's something that you can learn to do too. So being psychic is a huge gift and a huge blessing. It's also a little bit of a burden. I think you could ask any psychic anywhere if there were days that they wish they could go back to being oblivious, and I think any of us would say yes. Ignorance is bliss. When you have these abilities and you have such an awareness of the bigger picture, why we are here, our soul purpose, our soul lessons, the fact that we can choose the wrong path, and how much effort and understanding it takes to get on the right path. When you have this broader perspective of how we are all interacting in each other's lives and intertwined, it brings with it a lot of responsibility and a lot of desire to do the right thing and to be on the right path and to be making the most out of our lives that we possibly can. At the same time, there's a ton of joy in that, because I think as a psychic, I have the ability to maybe follow my heart a little bit more clearly than other people. Although I would argue again that you have the ability to do that as well. So it brings with it a lot of joys, brings with it, I think, a very high standard of living, in wanting to be in alignment with my spirit. And, you know, my guides are always talking to me. So I can't exactly ignore them. Sorry, allergies making my nose itch. So I hope that explains some of the questions people have about being psychic. I hope that if you're in my presence or of another psychic, you don't think that we're standing there, you know, beaming rays into your mind trying to figure out what you're thinking, because it's absolutely not true. If you ever want our help and want us to read for you, bring through messages, please ask. It's what we love to do, and it's what our gift is and is meant to be shared with the world. If you ask for someone to read for you, please make sure that they are well trained. Make sure that they have extremely good ethics and that they are a clear channel. One of the ways that you'll know is when you're in a reading, if it doesn't feel right, if it doesn't feel uplifting, if it doesn't feel of a high vibration. What I mean is, when someone reads for you, the information should be something that resonates with your soul. You should feel it deeply inside of you. And if it doesn't resonate with your soul, toss it, set it on the back burner, leave it for later. Sometimes when things don't match, there's a reason. You know, it's planting a seed, or it's something meant for later, and a month down the road, all of a sudden it'll make sense for you. But if it doesn't fit, don't try to make it fit. And if it feels yuck, if it feels like this person doesn't get you, if it feels like they're not connecting with you, if it feels like they are putting their own bias or filter or opinion on the message, let it go. Absolutely let it go. Just toss it out of your brain, because they're not doing you any favors. Okay, that was kind of a tangent, but I hope that this helped. I hope you have a fabulous day. Get outside, enjoy nature. Is the absolute best place to be, to feed your spirit. Love you all. Bye-bye.